Good evening, viewers. You're watching the Mortgage Busters show. My name's Greg and
I'm Adrian.
And we're here to bring you all the tricks and all the information you need to actually pay down your mortgage, the mortgage on your home most probably, as quickly as possible. We bring on the experts and all the professionals that can help you do that. And of course we have guests, and our first guest for this evening, Adrian, is
Hamish McDougall.
I thought it was McDougall.
McDougall, sorry.
Yeah, but McDonald's and McDougall's mixed up. We've got Hamish McDougall. Hamish, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. McDougall, McDonald, it's all very close. It's
Oh,
okay.
We'll get there.
Sound pretty much the same. It's the Mc. It's okay.
What is the Mc?
The Mc is the Scottish son of. It means son of.
Son of.
Son of Mc.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right,
son of
very good.
Son of Dougal.
Son of
Dougal. It's a great
There's
name.
a lot
yeah.
of son ofs.
And there's
A lot of
son
son of. A lot of Macs too. A lot of Macs. Yeah.
Right, Hamish, what do you do? Who do you represent and what do you do?
Yeah. So I work for Aspired Living. So we're a local builder and we build
Aspired Living.
Aspired Living.
That's
yeah.
the name of your.
That's the name of our organisation. You can
Right,
actually
very good.
check out our website or have a look at us on Facebook. So we build homes from entry-level homes all the way through to your custom-built homes and everything in between. So obviously people have different requirements, and it's very important they tell us those requirements so we can price the home up and design it up to the way they actually want it. So
Sure.
that's what we do as a professional company.
Okay, well, the reason we have you on as a builder
Yep.
and as of a leader of a company that does build homes is because, you know, people, they take on mortgages and they may take on a mortgage for a period of 30 years or up to 30 years and maybe even beyond in some cases.
Yep.
Now, that's a pretty big commitment.
For
And
sure.
They take, you know, a lot of these mortgages are attributable to new homes.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got you on just to try and discover, you know, these people are taking on this big responsibility of taking on the mortgage. How do they know when they're getting value for money when they're buying a home?
Yeah, certainly. Very good question, Greg. Look, one of the things we're very keen to stress to anybody that's looking to build a house is make sure when your builder says full turnkey that it is actually full turnkey.
Turnkey.
So
What's that mean?
So it means different things for different people. So what you're really looking for in a full turnkey package is you're getting the house, the land, the landscaping, the concrete, the driveway. You're also getting your blinds on the inside. And very, very importantly, you're getting your site works covered. It's a bit of a trick in the industry that a lot of people get caught out with site works. Fixed price.
Yeah.
So they talk about fixed price, and what you really want to make sure is that your site works are indeed covered in that fixed price contract. If it's not, you could be up for, sometimes you hear in the industry, up to $15,000, $20,000 more than the client expects. So our company, for example, is very forward with making sure we include those site works and the clients know exactly where they stand. So it's a really important thing to look out for. You don't want to be paying an extra $15,000, $20,000 over 30 years on a mortgage.
No,
so that's certainly something.
I'll get a second mortgage to pay it off.
I'll get a second mortgage to pay it off, exactly. So
what, you mentioned site costs there a number of times. What
Yep.
are site costs?
yeah, certainly. So essentially, when you're talking about a block, you've got fall and rise. So what you're looking at is if a block angles across like so, that's actually falling away. If it goes up and down, that's a rise. So what happens is obviously we need to build on a flat surface. We can always build on stumps, but generally in your Melbourne markets, it's always a slab on ground, or what they call a waffle pod slab, which I can elaborate another time on one. Waffle pod, yes, it's not talking
Sounds
too
almost
much.
as complicated as Mac.
Exactly. But so in terms of the site works, what you're looking at is what they call the site cut. So it's making sure the block's level and how much soil you have to remove.
So site generally refers to the block.
Exactly,
Yeah,
correct.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and it also refers to not only how much soil you're actually removing off the block, it also refers to the condition of the soil itself. So if you're in a new estate, sometimes there's what they call a P-class slab, which is when they're essentially putting old soil on top, compacting it down, and you have to put some extra concrete into that to make sure you're building on a solid
and that's
foundation.
where they can get you again. Yeah?
Absolutely. So it's almost two times you've got to look out for that when you're talking about your site works.
So people can, fair income, get a fixed price contract based on, I suppose, the homework that you can get done for them?
Absolutely.
Soil tests, computations that get a bit more complicated.
Correct,
Yeah,
Adrian. So what we do is we actually go out there and we do a site and soil analysis. So we're actually going out, not just looking at the soil conditions, we're also looking at the site itself to make sure it's suitable for the size of home that people are referring to. And we do what we call siting a plan. It's something we as a company, as Aspired Living, we do that for every client to make sure it's going to fit on the block.
That's good.
You hear stories of people coming in and
fit.
going, my house doesn't fit on the block, or it's sideways, or it's back to front, or the garage isn't where I need it to be. So again, we need to make sure we're meeting those criterias. In new estates, there's another little bit of a trick to look out for, which is there's what they call covenants, which are certain rules and restrictions that the estate actually puts on building in those blocks. So they might have things like ceiling height has to be a certain height. You have to use a certain amount of bricks on the front.
Fence
Has to be up. Yeah, type of fence you have to use.
But that protects the look of this estate, doesn't it? Really?
It's a good thing. Sometimes it can be difficult and people do get frustrated with it, but it's there for everyone's benefit, because the better a estate looks, the more your house is worth, and obviously then you can use that equity to get a second investment home, and obviously use that to then pay down your mortgage quicker.
Get
so
another house
something
and
I
you
certainly
build
believe
another
in.
one.
Yeah, exactly right. I do it myself. Build investment homes.
Well,
so
that's important. You do it yourself. You build your own homes.
absolutely.
Like you get your own investment property built.
Yeah. What we do is as a builder, look, we're as a part owner of a building company, we think it's very important to obviously build in bricks and mortar. I see very high value in that. So ourselves, everyone in the organisation, we build our own investment properties. I'm building 2 at the moment, right now. They're under construction today as we speak. So I always believe in doing those, building them up. It's a very good way to create wealth, and it helps me pay out my mortgage quicker, which means I've got a happy wife, happy life type scenario.
Absolutely. That makes a big difference. We've got about a minute or so left before we need to go to a break.
Cool.
So it's not just about getting the best price when you go to a builder.
Absolutely. It's making sure, the couple of things, the real keys are, make sure your fixed price is in fact a fixed price. Make sure they're doing that. Make sure you're getting what you actually want and what you think you're getting. So just check everything that you think is included is in fact included. And the other thing to do, and it's really important, is to be comfortable with the people that you're building with. So the company you're building with, the staff you're dealing with, because you'll interact with them anywhere between 3 to 6 months, depending on the size of your house. So it's really important to get to know them and be comfortable with where you're at with it all.
And that can come down to instinct.
It can, absolutely.
So we'll be back after the break to chat some more, Hamish.
Great.
You're watching the Mortgage Busters show. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. You're with the Mortgage Busters show. And we're talking with Hamish McDougall from Aspired Living. Hamish.
Greg.
Our viewers, they go out there and they'll take on a mortgage from a bank, 25, 30 years for an amount of something like $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. And they're going to commit it to a home. And that home is going to be built by someone like yourself.
Yep.
So again, how do they know they're getting value for money, and what are the steps they need to take to ensure that they're getting the best they can?
Yeah, certainly, Greg. The first thing they need to really do is, when they speak to, hopefully us as a builder, obviously, but to any builder, is to really discuss what they want to have in their house. So their must-haves versus their maybe nice-to-haves. So it might be nice to have a lap pool in the middle of your house, but it's probably not necessarily essential. But as you say, because they're living there for such a long time, what they want to do is make sure they're building the house to suit their own requirements. And the other thing you want to do as well is, I encourage them to make sure the house adds value, do things that add value to it, so that way they can increase obviously their equity in the house, and then give you guys a call and get themselves sorted to build a nice new investment property and help pay down their mortgage quicker.
Very good.
A question that I think the viewers would love to hear: what's the difference between someone purchasing a home to live in and somebody purchasing a home to invest in, purely to invest in?
I thought you were going to ask me if I was married, and yes, I am, Adrian. So thank you. But in terms of building the houses, when you're building a home to live in, it's really important that people spend, I would say, on average, 6-7 hours with us in their selection appointment, just to make sure they've got even the colour scheme right. They'll do things like feature walls, and they'll do darker colours because they might particularly like dark colours. They might like dark tiles, light tiles. They might even use some really pretty funky tiles that I necessarily myself wouldn't use, but of course we're there to service the needs of what people want. Whereas you're building an investment home, you need to make sure you're building an investment home that's pretty neutral. You don't want something that's got your own unique take on it. Often people make that mistake when they're building an investment property.
Green, and
yeah,
green.
Yeah,
green,
exactly.
Curtains, green.
That's right. Going for the 1952 look. Yeah, it's not going the retro look. It might work in your own house, but when you're doing an investment property, again, you want to keep it very neutral. It's your whites, it's your creams, things like that on your walls, your traditional bricks on your facades, so you've got a traditional looking facade, a nice facade, but you still want it traditional looking, so that way you're not really offending anyone that might be looking to rent it, because obviously when you're building an investment property, you need to get the renters in. And to be able to do that, if you've got your own unique flair put on there, and we call it flair, if you put your own unique flair on it, it might actually put some people off, so it makes it less rentable. So we certainly encourage people to take the time on their own house, whereas an investment property, we often do it for people and just choose neutral colours on their behalf.
What's really important to have in an investment property?
To have it in there?
To have that renter say, ooh.
The rentability?
Yeah, rentability.
we just invent a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, to have the appeal in there, what you want is generally on an investment property, you're going 4 bedrooms, double garage, if the estate allows it, not every estate allows it. So generally 4 bedrooms, double garage, and 2 living spaces. The reason you want the 2 living spaces, if they're looking to rent it, quite often people will have families, they want to put the kids down one end, they want to go up the other end themselves and entertain. And the other thing that really adds pizzazz nowadays that most houses have, and happy to say about 99.99% of our houses, maybe 95%, have them, is alfrescos. So having an alfresco on there, so you can do that indoor-outdoor living, very important in Australia. A lot of people really like that, so make sure you put that on there.
But even air conditioning, you want to have something that works, not just blows air.
Absolutely. We put different kinds of systems in our homes, depending what people want. But in your investment homes, you want evaporative cooling in there. The evaporative cooling certainly helps, gets it out, and your central heating. I should mention that too.
Yeah, it would help.
At the moment, like tonight, I certainly think the central heating will be on. So you've got to make sure you've got that in there, and some decent appliances too. You know, and again, nice countertops, your laminate finishes, but just choosing some nice, just modern colours and not offending anyone with what you do.
Speaking of investment properties, as a builder, do you feel as though the market's strong out there? Have you got a lot of people coming through your displays and wanting to purchase, to live in, but also maybe an investment?
Oh, for sure. As a builder, I could always selfishly say we want millions more people coming through. But yeah, look, it's certainly strong. It's buoyant. It's picking up. People talk about 3 or 4 years ago where things are at. It's certainly a lot more buoyant than it was then. People are looking to purchase investment properties. We get asked all the time, what can we do in the way of an investment package for them? And it's something that we absolutely can help them do, and we certainly refer them through to you guys as well to make sure they can speak to you and go through and crunch all the numbers and get it all right. So again, myself, I do investment homes myself all the time.
So you talk the talk and walk the walk.
Yeah, absolutely. you got to be prepared to do it yourself, and it'd be a shame, wouldn't it, if I was one of the owners of Aspired Living and I didn't build my own home. So that'd be a bit of a worry. Yeah.
All right, well, of course, we'll have a link to your website on our website, which is the tmbshow.com.au. There'll be some sort of special arrangement there that you've got for our show.
For sure.
I know that Adrian's had a chat with you and we've organised a special bits and pieces to go into a build.
That's it. Yep.
So what are you doing? Let me ask you this question. You've got investment homes, you've obviously got mortgages. Mm-hmm. What's your view on how should you pay down those mortgages? Are you trying to pay down the investment property mortgages or your home mortgage? Where are you at with that sort of thing?
Yeah, look, certainly for myself.
We know where you should be.
Yeah. That's all right. Certainly for myself, one of the things I use the investment properties to do as a builder is build the investment homes, rent those out or sell them on, and then build the next one. And I use part of the profit to go on to the next project, and then part of that profit to pay down my own personal mortgage. As soon as I can get rid of that mortgage on my own home, the better.
Fantastic. Adrian, any further questions for Hamish?
Great.
Check out our website, which is
www.tmbshow.com.au.
tmbshow.com.au. We'll have a link there on our website to Aspired Living's website. If you're currently looking for a home or looking for a mortgage to purchase a home, then check it out. Our links to Hamish will be there. You can check out everything that Hamish has got to offer. Yep. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back, viewers. You're with the Mortgage Busters show, and we are with Stephen Hudson, our resident finance expert. Guru. Expert. Steve, welcome back.
Greg, Adrian, thanks for having us back.
Welcome
Now,
back.
Debbie from Kensington.
Debbie from Kensington. She emailed in through the website, through the Mortgage Busters website, asking the question. She's got 3 debts that she wants to consolidate: a couple of personal loans and a credit card, and she wants to consolidate that debt.
Why? Why would she want to consolidate that debt?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why, but the main reason is when people look for consolidating debt is to reduce their outgoings each month or each week, depending how the debt has been set up. And not only that, they can also consolidate to one debt, and it makes it easier to manage.
Of course.
You know, from a payment point of view, they've got one payment to worry about and budget for.
Okay. So what advice would you give her?
So, you know, let's look at the options. So some of the options, I'll just use the whiteboard to look at you know, how we might manage this. But typically there is 2 ways to look at consolidating your debt. One is what we just said before. In Debbie's case, she had $30,000 K for thousands, Greg.
Yep.
So she wanted to consolidate that into one loan. The first one is that you can consolidate into another personal loan. Okay. Typically, we'll use 12% over 5 years. Repayments on that is going to be somewhere in the vicinity, just missed out by $1 there for 666, but there we go. And the interest rate in dollars.
I'm glad you stayed away from that. Now, hang on, just before you move on, Steve, that 30K is made up of 3 different amounts. Is
That's
that what
right.
you're saying?
So we've got a personal loan by 2, so there's 2 of them, and a credit card debt. I think one of the debts there was 11. This was somewhere in the vicinity of 12, and we've got 7 here on the credit card, right?
Okay.
From a debt point.
So put them all together?
All put in together. Credit cards can be a lot more than 12%, but generally speaking. So we've got that. First option is to put that into a 5-year personal loan, and the amount of interest that you're paying off there is approximately 10K over the 5-year period. What a lot of people do is actually put that into their mortgage, and the reason is they put it into the mortgage is because the interest rate is a lot lower. So comparing that as option 2, and we're using, say, the magic of 5% for your mortgage, that would be then taken over 30 years, generally speaking. Repayment's going to be approximately $161 per month. Now, get this, amount of interest they're paying, just less than 28K over a period of that loan. So when you're considering consolidating the options, you really need to understand why you're doing it and then putting the right mix in what suits your circumstances. If the person or the viewer is looking at, in this case, Debbie from Kensington, needs to reduce their outgoings, obviously they should probably consider the mortgage. But keeping in mind the amount of interest they're going to be paying over the period of time. Now, what we did with Debbie, we actually presented another option for the $30,000. We actually went into the actual mortgage. She had currently a mortgage of $300,000, and approximate value was $420,000. Interestingly, they've done some renos and increased their value of their what we call PPR, principal place of residence. Yeah.
But so that's her home.
That's her home. This is the value of the home, $420K. This is the current mortgage.
Yep.
We put that mortgage. We took out another $30K, so that was $330. What we said to the family is, how much can you pay off in 3 years off a mortgage? If you really put your heads to it, what do you think each year you can pay off? And they came up with $30K. So that was $90K over 3-year period. So with this crunching, what we said to them was that we're going to take this as a standard variable rate as a P&I, principal interest. So we're paying off interest and principal. What we said then is that we want to take another loan out for $240 for the remainder, 3 years.
Fixed?
You can either have it fixed. Right now, fixed rates are starting to come down. Fixed rates were higher than variable. Go back 2-3 weeks ago. We have a couple of lenders now which are actually coming down on fixed rates, but interest only. So any other payment they were paying on that huge amount is all going into this. The remarkable thing about this is they knock that off over 3 years, and it gives them a goal for them to actually set their sights on and actually then start saving, and they can start seeing that 90K come down. And when they've got that to a big fat zero, they're left with a mortgage of 240. Now, interesting what we were talking about with Hamish before in the other segments in the show. For investment, this really positions people really powerful. So we've got a mortgage of 240. What's in 3 years time? How much are houses roughly going up at the moment?
Just roughly 10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Well, let's be conservative.
A year.
A year.
Yeah.
Let's call it 5%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
5%,
conservative.
Yeah.
So over 3 years, without trying to do a compound and so forth, we're talking about 60K. It's going to increase over that 3 years. So this value of this house now is now 480, and they have a loan which is 50% of the value of the house.
That's only 3 years.
3 years.
It's not that far away.
And they are in a perfect position now to invest maybe in 1 or 2 properties by using that equity.
Plus the
That is
90.
sensational.
The 90 is saved. Is that right?
That's saved. They've
So
paid
they can
that
use that as well. Oh,
They've
okay.
paid that off. They originally had, when we consolidated the debt of 30K, we've put that onto the mortgage.
They've paid off 90,000.
So we've split the loan into 2. One as a 90K because that's what the couple believes that they can pay off. Personally, I like to see them stretch it a little bit more and say 100, 105 or something and really go for it hard. But in this case, it was a realistic amount and left with a mortgage.
That's still 3 years as well. That's fantastic.
3 years, so we're left with 240 and the property's gone up to 480, so now they're in a perfect position to do what you were discussing with Hamish, and that's to look for an investment property.
Because if you just left it, what would happen?
What would happen?
Nothing.
Certainly they would reduce that.
Not much. Anyway,
not
interest. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think it's amazing. 3 years, what can be accomplished if you actually set your mind to it.
I've called this crunching. If any of the viewers can think of a better word than that for crunching.
No, I love it.
You love that? You can't use layering because that's a terminology that's used for something else. But
it's fantastic.
crunching.
They've resolved 2 problems.
That is amazing, and it gives people a target, and that's what we've discovered.
For
Most
3
people
years.
don't have targets.
I can't get over that.
Once they, what's that saying about elephants? You can eat an elephant one little bit at a time or something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm sure you wouldn't do it.
I don't know what the real thing is, but it's something about taking little steps, and that means you get the big goal done and dusted. That's it.
Absolutely.
Crunching.
It's smart goals,
Really
specific, measurable, achievable.
And it's doable.
Yeah, realistic in time. So that there allows the client or the viewer in this situation to really target their savings plan and to achieve something that's quite substantial and very powerful. Very powerful.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Extremely. You've done it again, Steve.
Well
You've done
done.
it again.
Well done.
Steve's crunching.
Well done.
Now we need to get this example up onto our website
We'll do that.
so that our viewers can go to our website, which is
www.tmbshow.com.au.
the dubs followed by tmbshow.com.au. We did it. All right, Steve. Thanks very much. That is brilliant. Viewers, check out our website, and it'll be again explained on there somewhere. You'll find it. Steve. We'll see you again next week.
Adrian,
thank you. See you again next week.
Thank you. All the
Thanks
best.
for watching, viewers, and we'll see you on the Mortgage Busters show next week.